chat is working. So definitely shoot me a comment. I'm gonna post on here, hey everyone, to make sure that I can see them because sometimes I don't see them. There we go. What's up, Rebecca? Hey Carter. Hello, Sylvia. Rebecca is a newbie. Welcome, Rebecca. Where are you watching from, Rebecca? We're so glad that you're here. You guys, I'm super excited about this live tonight because I know we had Kelly and I have been trying to figure out how many of you awesome nurses reached out to us. We think in the thousands
for sure
in the last 2 or 3 days. So we are so grateful that you've been reaching out and you're like, help us, please tell us what we can do as a nurse that's not bedside anymore. And we know how you're feeling and how burnt out that you are. And so we're really excited to bring this to you and get all of your questions answered about legal nurse consulting, forensic nursing, and see if this is something that you could see yourself doing. And we want to talk about the good, the bad, the ugly, the challenges of being a business owner, and then the things that are great about owning your own business and having the ability to work from home and take care of your kids.
Go to Disney World with your kids, whatever.
On a Monday. So Callie actually flew in from Maryland when? Saturday? Last Friday. See, we don't even know what day it is. Isn't that the life you want? Well, actually, I felt like I didn't know what day it was when I was a nurse either, when I worked in the hospital. And we decided that her kids were on spring break, so that we were going to hit Disneyland and all this other stuff. And then my kids got sick. They woke up sick this morning, so some of our plans got changed. But we had the ability to we did a live yesterday. An all-day live event with our legal nurse rock stars that are part of our VIP Legal Nurses Rock group. And that was really cool. And then, but during the week, Monday, we went to Disneyland and we were doing all this stuff with the kids, which, we never would have really had the ability to do that before. Oh, sorry, guys, my phone fell. So it's been really, what's up, Rebecca? Oh, Utah. Love it. Hi, Kelly. Hi, Lisa. Hi, Brandy. What's up, you guys? Shout out in the comments where you're watching from. Sorry, I usually have a stand for my phone and I don't today. Also on this live, I want to give out, how many of you have read Scrap the Scrubs? If you've already purchased and read Scrap the Scrubs, first of all, thank you so much. Give me some hearts if you're loving the book. Shout out Scrap the Scrubs if you've already purchased it and read it. And if you haven't, we're going to give away a couple to you tonight. So that'll be fun. You can get a little signed copy. Hey, Julie. Julie's one of our VIP members. I love it. From North Carolina. Welcome, Charmin. Nice to see you here. So I think we just kind of wanted to sit back, drink some coffee, if you will.
Our St. Patrick's Day.
Our St. Patrick's Day coffee. And just have a real candid conversation with you. What's up, Alicia from Georgia? Oh, I know you, Alicia. How are you? Hi, Lisa. Oh, I got it. Love both your books. Thank you, Lisa, so much. I really appreciate that. Yeah, we just kind of wanted to have a candid conversation with our followers and just talk amongst one another and let you see kind of a day in the life of a legal nurse. And it's not always pretty. Some days it's pure chaos, I'll be honest.
Oh, yes.
But we were talking, it's funny, we were talking today. And it was really chaotic. But, my kids are sick. And so they're crying a lot. And then her poor kids are like, well, what's going on with your kids? Your kids are insane. And what's up, Lindsay? Hi, Lindsay. And, but we were talking how there is no amount in the world that anyone could pay us to make us go back to the hospital.
No, I was telling you, you could literally offer me $1 million sign-on bonus and I'd be like, no, Target's hiring.
Yeah, not doing it, going to work at Target.
No way.
Yeah, and it was funny because I haven't stopped to really think about that, but she's right. Like the thought of having to go back to the hospital gives me so much anxiety.
I could not do it. Just even getting up at 5 to go work a 12-hour shift.
Right.
Getting home at 8:30 at night.
Yeah.
And
leaving when it's dark, coming back when it's dark. I hated that about the nursing.
I worked the 3 to 3 shift. So I would drive home from the ER. I had like a 50-minute commute.
Oh, that's what I did.
And I got home at like 5 a.m. usually. And if I worked the next day, I would sleep. By the time you fall asleep, it's like 8 a.m.
Yeah.
You can sleep till noon and then you have to go do it again.
And you got to turn around and do it again. Who here has done a 3 to 3 shift? That sounds awful. I didn't even know that was a thing, but I guess in the ER, it's kind of a thing. I've got the scrubs on my nightstand. Yeah, Julie, thank you. Where are my ER nurses at? Shout out ER if you're an ER nurse. And I agree. It's funny because you don't realize when you go into nursing, you do it because for the love of people and you want to change lives. And there's this like, it was something I wanted to do since I was a kid, right?
Yeah.
I actually wanted to be a pediatrician, but
me too.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing.
We didn't talk about that yet.
Both of us were peds nurses. Love peds. Peds, it was my dream to work in pediatrics. I did, for those of you that don't know my background, I'll let you share your background. I did pediatric ICU, the neonatal ICU, and then the peds ER. And then I traveled around the country, and I also did some time in Haiti after the earthquake. And I love everything about the nursing, about being a nurse. I love it. But the politics, and you guys know what I'm talking about. Shout out politics if you're just over the politics. And then I think, and then just every day giving of yourself over and over and over again. And then you realize how easily disposable you are. I think that's the thing that was just wow, I've given my life, soul, tears, body, everything, my back to this career. And, been the one that steps up every time they needed someone to come in, and at the drop of a hat, you're replaceable. Anybody feel that way? What's up, Sandra? Nice to see you here. Politics. It's gotten, and you guys, I got out of it before this COVID thing happened. And so did Callie. And so I've had Legal Nurses Rock and this program for over 7 years. And I've got to watch just the state of nursing just go down, down, down.
It's awful. My husband's a nurse too.
Yes.
And he was still ICU, working in the hospital, and came home one day, and he used to do real estate appraisal. And he was like, I'm done. I'm going to go back and get my license reactivated for appraising. And he now does legal nurse consulting as well. But it just, people are to the point where it's
they're done.
You can't bring me a pizza and make up for everything. And remember night shift, you got the day shift leftovers. We have donuts in the morning. Here we say,
and they're always hard. I'd be so hungry. I'm like, there's donuts. Oh, they're hard as a rock. And this pizza's all stiff and nasty. No support for nurses. Ruth says, absolutely. There isn't support for nurses. Sylvia says, I love this conversation so much. Truth. Thank you. I thought that, if we just talked about it and then shared kind of our journey with you guys, that maybe, because here's what's lacking in the nursing field right now: hope. I think so many nurses don't have hope. We're in multiple nurse groups on Facebook, and it's nurses are desperate for hope, desperate. Yeah. It's they're tired, they're exhausted, but you guys, we spent so much money on our career, on our not on our career, but on our degrees. How many degrees you have? Nurses collect degrees, so you probably have more than one, right? Certifications, because nurses have 30 after their name. A lot of money, a lot of time, a lot of sacrifice. And you read these posts, and we're reading these posts online, and it's nurses are screaming for something else. But then there's also that piece of them that it's but I don't want to let go of nursing. But then I'm also so done. What's up, Leanne? Hi. Americans are tired. Nikki's got it. Yeah, everyone's freaking tired, right? What's up, Missy? Nice to see you here. Shout out in the comments where you're watching from and your nursing specialty. So back in, and I'll tell you a bit about me if you're new here. So I started my legal nurse consulting journey in 2009. And then I started Legal Nurses Rock because so many nurses were reaching out to me at that time before COVID, wanting to know how I was doing, what I was doing, and how I got out of the hospital. We miss you too. Hi, Leanne. And so I started in 2015, I started Legal Nurses Rock. And it's a training lounge for nurses to learn to do what I've done. And I basically handhold you from start to finish. The start of working as a nurse from home, all the things that you need. In fact, I'll let Callie do some talking because sometimes I can talk way too much, and let her tell a bit about her journey, her background, and how we found each other, and now how we're working together, which is really, really cool. We've got Lindsay here from Florida, Laura, hello from Texas, Kelly from Oklahoma. So nice to see you guys. Thank you so much for being here with us. Oh, sick you. Hi from Tampa, Lori. Nice to see you here. Thank you for the hearts, you guys. We really appreciate them.
Yes.
Okay, Callie's going to share a bit. I'm going to scoot you closer to me.
Okay.
We're in this like tiny little office, hiding from our children. Okay, we're actually hiding.
We even locked the door.
We even locked the door. So if you hear somebody pounding on it in a minute, moms, right? Hashtag mom life. All right, girl, why don't you tell them a bit about your background and then how you found your journey here?
Yeah. So, believe it or not, Janice and I have not known each other for like 20 years. I have a background, peds is my my major background. I did pediatric ER, inpatient, a little bit of adult ER, but mainly pediatrics. And then I went into case management and did that for a while. So I did work from home, but I think one of the things with that was that you're tied to a computer, and
right, this is what we were talking about.
You know, there's these work from home jobs like insurance companies, utilization review, all that kind of stuff. I've done it, but you're there, you have a headset on and you're at the computer, right? And it's like calls coming in, or you have to make these outbound calls, and it's just,
there still isn't much freedom.
No.
In the work from home job, right? The job.
I had to literally, we had a chat that we had to like type in. I had to tell them I need to go to the bathroom.
Oh,
so that I could get up from the computer and they could take the incoming calls.
Wow.
Not what I want to do.
No. It's going to be a long one, guys. I've got to go to the bathroom.
I'll be back in 3 hours.
Yeah. Oh, wait, that's weird.
Is it okay if I go? You know, like when you're in school and you have to like raise your hand.
Yeah.
Go to the bathroom? Yeah.
For
career. So actually I was doing that kind of stuff. My husband, I was saying, came home and was like, I'm done. And so I was like, well, we got to find something. So I started Googling and on Facebook, and I found legal nurse consulting as an option and found Janice. And I was like, all right, hubby, this is what we're doing. Look, we can start a business. We can work for ourselves. We can do what we want when we want. And he was really on board with it. He was like, okay, let's try it. And so when I talked to like all of the nurses who are interested, and I'm like, look, the hardest part is that initial jump. I like literally fell head first. It's not a career I knew about for like 20 years and thought about it and had heard about. I found it and I was like, this is amazing. I want to work from home for myself. And that's kind of what I did. So I went through the entire program. And the reason I chose Janice prior to even knowing her and how wonderful she is, was because of the real world application that you get and the hand holding. I didn't want to have to purchase a textbook and like feel like I was back in nursing school, because already did that.
Yeah. You know, we don't have textbooks, and I think everything we do is video one-on-one, you know, training through our Zooms. And I think that's a big thing for me too. I don't learn that way. Like if you and in fact, I've actually purchased a lot of really thick nursing books to get a special certificate, and I've never opened them. And they're sitting in that closet right over there, actually staring at me still. And it's been like 12 years. So I was the same way. So I love that you bring it up. I was like, please don't give me another book that I have to sit down and try to read, you know.
And don't make me take a test either.
Don't make me take a test. I don't want to take a test.
I already did that. I have my nursing degree. Just teach me what I need to know to go out there and do this.
Yes, 100%.
And yeah.
So when you jumped in, so you took the certificate program, the mastery program. The mastery is our report writing program. How long after you finished the mastery and mastered report writing for attorneys did you land your first attorney client?
So I finished mastery, went right into biz growth, and literally day one, like we have you marketing day one, guys. Like,
yeah.
A week after I started marketing.
Yeah.
It was April 9th of last year that I started marketing.
It's almost a year.
It's been almost a year. Yeah. And I got an attorney. He sent me over 13 cases the following week.
It was amazing.
And yeah.
Callie was like, boom. She's like, I got 13 cases. I'm like, oh my gosh, I love this. Alicia says, I never opened a book in nursing school. I'm a show me learner. I think a lot of nurses are though. I think we're very hands-on. Like, I'm like, just stop with all the noise. Just show me exactly what I have to do. Right. Here's a machine, show me how to do it. And I'll do it. But if I have to sit down and read a book and study, like, that's just not how I work. We always laugh. I'm like, we triage, like we do everything better last minute. Super, we can do anything like the day before.
It's when things are crashing that we work
really well. It's so true. And I think a lot of nurses are that way. Hi, Stephanie. What's up, Christy? Yeah. So let me explain a bit about what is legal nurse consulting, because I think a lot of you that are new, shout out newbie if you're new here, and you don't know what legal nurse consulting is. So legal nurse consultants, it's funny. It's been around a while. It started in the 80s. It took off in the 90s, but it never really took off, if you will. Not until social media are lawyers starting to see and hear more about what nurses can do for them and as part of their litigation team. And they're seeing the value having a nurse on their team really is and how much value they provide. Lawyers are busy. They have a lot on their plate. Their paralegals are incredibly busy. Yep. And when you can take that chunk of, you guys hear my kid in the background, poor baby. When you can take that chunk of medical records and pretty much anything that has to do with the history of the client, the history of their client, the history of that patient, pre-existing conditions, all of that stuff, and put it into something that makes sense, how this injury is, could be related to those pre-existing conditions, how this all makes sense. And you put it in something they can actually read and understand, you guys, they turn around and they take that into mediation or into trial, and they're able to get larger settlements because they're able to explain what happened better. Does that make sense? When you're reading like if you guys pulled up a ton of contracts, let's say, all in legalese, in legal language, you've probably done this before. Raise your hand, shout out legal in the chat if you've ever read a bunch of contracts and gone, I don't know what this says. It's totally foreign to me. This is what a lot of lawyers struggle with too. They have to spend a lot of time Googling. Now there's some incredibly smart lawyers out there, and I'm not saying that they're not smart. They just are focused on a part of their job that's incredibly important, that requires a totally different set of skill, right? They went to school for a really long time, so they're very, very fluent in legal jargon and all that legal stuff. But medicine is a specialty. And so when you can bring the insight that you've learned in the hospital, that you've learned from taking care of patients with wounds, or being in a facility where they're understaffed and there aren't enough nurses and people are getting hurt, you bring an insight to their team that really helps them do better. I love this, Lindsay. Thank you so much. Right? It's like, I'm reading a contract, I don't know what this says. And that's what happens to a lot of lawyers. They open up these records and they say, gosh, and I think it's amazing to have a lawyer that says, I don't know what I don't know, and that's okay. And I'm going to go out and get the help that I need, so this can be better for my client. This can be better for me. And all around, it becomes this really great, what's the word I'm looking for? I was going to say a well-oiled machine. Yeah. It's like, okay, so let me tell you a bit of the life of a legal nurse. I'll share some of my life, and then Callie can share some of her life. And I think what's up, Cindy? Girl, I'm so jealous. You're 13 years. Come over to the dark side with us. I mean, the light side. So for us, here's what happens in some of our injury cases. So a lawyer gets a case, they decide whether or not they think there's something here and perhaps they want to pursue it. They then take all of those records and that they think they have all of it. Majority of the time they don't have 95% of what they need. But that's where we come in. That's our job, to help them know what they're missing and what they need to build a stronger case. So they hand those over to us. We go through them. We break down into verbiage that they understand. And we break down everything that happened to their client. And then we also tell them what they're missing, what they need. Maybe the police report's missing. Maybe the ER note's missing. Maybe the MRI is missing. Perhaps there's some pre-existing conditions that they mentioned one time they're having these headaches before, and we want to pull that up and make sure that they're aware of that red flag that the defense, is going to attempt to use against them. There's so many things, so many different factors that we pull out and say, hey, you need this, this, and this. Hey, it would be a great idea to depose this person and this person. Hey, these are the questions you should ask the experts in deposition. I've been in a lot of depositions, and I'm telling you, I've seen lawyers use the same template for their expert depositions, like the same template. Like, it's like the same. It's like, I'm like, these are not catered toward what actually happened in this case. It's almost like it's a template script that they use from case to case, which does not give them power or strength, right? But having the ability to go in and say, hey, nurse so-and-so did this, this, and this. Doctor so-and-so didn't do this, this, and this. This is what they should and shouldn't have done. This is why. Here's the research to back our statement that you're going to need to back your statement. And you just hand it to them with a bow. It's life-changing.
They love it.
They love it. Not only do they love it, but they realize that now their time can be spent on things that really matter. We allow, more free time so they can sit down with their client and have those conversations. They can be more present for their clients. They can be more present for other things in their practice that takes so much time, rather than spending their nights and weekends nose deep in medical records, which nobody wants to do except us. For some reason, we like it. It's disgusting, but we love it, right? So that's kind of legal nurse consulting in a nutshell. We get a lot of cases that come through like that. That's really, guys, that's like kind of just the tip of the iceberg. There's so many other things that we do. Helping draft demand letters. We went over that yesterday with our VIP team. How to draft demand letters to help free up the attorney's time. The demand letters take a lot of time for them to do, and nurses are great storytellers, right? They're really good. If you're already in there looking at those medical records, you can paint that picture with emotion, and just you're in such a great place to create that demand letter. And so there's demand letters, criminal law. I do a lot of criminal law. I started actually in criminal law. So things that maybe I can't even talk about on Facebook that I've done in the criminal world that might get my video banned. There's that forensic side of legal nurse consulting too. That's really interesting. If somebody dies, how did they die? What does that look like? What we talked about yesterday, does the cause of death match what happened in their medical records? So there's a lot of stuff that we can do as nurses. What's up, you guys? Hi, Dia. To help lawyers have success and to help them have this practice that is just smooth running. And I think it's great. I love when my lawyers reach out to me like, hey, I'm doing mediation on Tuesday, and it's like, boom, 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 boom. Here you go. Here's what you need. These are the questions, this is what, these are the numbers. We do medical billing too. So we're able to tell them like what was spent, because of these injuries, and what that future projection looks like as far as out-of-pocket costs or, life expenses for the injury that occurred. So there's so many different ways to work as a legal nurse. And our team, because we have a pretty big team now, we focus on a broad variety of pretty much anything that comes in, but you could really focus as one person. Maybe you're really good at numbers and you just want to do life care planning and billing, and that's your focus. You could do that and work from home, and you create the schedule when you want. So long as you get your work done by that due date that lawyer needs, you guys, it's up to you.
Yeah. And I think another thing people sometimes think is that you get like a case on a Monday and it's due on a Friday.
Right.
And that's not typical. I mean, you will have your attorneys who are like, oh my God, I have deposition on Wednesday. Can you help me? And it's a business decision you can make, but for the most part, you've got several weeks to do your reports. I mean, I have one attorney who every case they send over is like a 6-week turnaround. They don't need it earlier. They send it as soon as it comes in, and you've got time. So, if you have things with the kids, you don't have to sit and work from 9 to 5 every day.
No. How many of you have kids here? Shout out kids in the comment section, and then tell me, what is the most important thing for you? Why would you want to work from home? What would working from home give you the ability to do? For me, being able to be home means one of my kiddos has anxiety pretty bad, but it means I get to be home and help him. What's up? She's got kids. Thank you, Paris. Tia's got 3 girls. Being home allows me to work through the issues that my child has and not have to put him in daycare and cross my fingers and hope that somebody can do it as good as I can. Right. Isn't that, it's hard for us, I think, as nurses, because I'm very like, only I can do it. Kids, flexibility, right? The flexibility of this job, spend time with your kids, spend those holidays with your kids. Yeah. I remember it was December and I can't even remember what year. But I remember a few weeks before Christmas, I told myself, I was walking into the hospital, and I loved this hospital, you guys. I actually did not like the hospital I was at. What I didn't like was the 2-hour drive in traffic into Los Angeles, into LA, and being incredibly exhausted and then missing out on a lot of things in life. I actually enjoyed the hospital. I enjoyed the nurses and the staff. That I was actually very happy. But I wasn't happy with the lack of freedom and the inability to do the things that I wanted to do when I wanted to do it. And I was kind of addicted. I don't know, maybe it's a nurse personality. Like, I was addicted to working. And so then I found that my health was getting bad and I was working more and I was always picking up these extra shifts. And, for me, it just became almost like like it was sucking the life out of me.
Yeah.
And I remember walking across the little bridge to go to work, and it was a night shift. And I told myself, this is the last Christmas I will ever work in the hospital. And you can't say that if you work in the hospital, because you got to work like every other holiday. So I knew that I was going to make this work no matter how hard it was and no matter what my peers said. So how many of you, because I'm sure there's some of you here, have told your friends, your nurse friends, you were going to do legal nurse consulting, and they said, I tried that. That's a scam. It doesn't work. Because that's what people told me. Can I tell you a secret? The people that told me it was a scam came back and asked me for a job a few years later. So I want you to listen to me and not to your friends. Okay. People will say things like this because misery loves company.
Yes.
Right? You've seen it in the nurses lounge when everybody's sitting around and we're all complaining together, right? It's like everyone wants to be miserable together. And I just had to say, no, I'm not listening. I'm putting on my blinders and I'm going to make this work. Hi, Kelly. And focus. Put my head down and focus. Yeah. So what, Kelly, would you say, what's one of the things that has been the most challenging for you as a legal nurse consultant?
I think the most challenging part is that you have to, even when things are tough, every business has highs and lows. There's sometimes where there's so much work and you're like, oh my gosh, I need help. And there's other times where you're like, all right, did all the attorneys go to Fiji? What's happening? I don't have any work. So I think just that mindset of you have to keep going is one of the hardest things to learn as a business owner and starting out. But once you understand that and realize it's so freeing, because you're making more than you are in the hospital during those really good times. So it takes care of if things are a little bit slower.
Right. The feast or famine, right? We actually talk about the 4 seasons of legal nurse consulting, and there's a couple nurses and I that joke about this, some of my oldies but goodies. The 4 seasons of legal nurse consulting, there's 2 really busy seasons during a year. And then there's 2 seasons that get significantly slower. But if you're making 3 times the amount of money you made in a hospital and you learn to put that money away in those slow seasons, you end up, even if you save, you still end up making more than you did in the hospital and bringing home more than you did. I don't know that we've had a year under 300K. We've been bringing in over 300K to over $1 million a year in our company for the last 4 or 5 years. So the amount of money you can make is significant, but that doesn't mean I still don't have slow points in my business. I still have slow seasons. Typically that's around the holidays, right? Most lawyers are going on vacation. Courts are closing. Nobody wants to go to trial between Thanksgiving and Christmas. Like they'll try to like cram some in there, but for the most part, they don't want to. And then summer, it tends to slow down a bit around what's it called? Spring break and summer, it slows down a little bit. But as a business owner, we've learned to go, okay, if that's our slow time, then that's the time we spend with our families.
Which is awesome, because who wants to work during the holidays if you don't have to? And summer, I'd rather go to the pool anyway than work. So
yeah,
perfect.
And it doesn't mean there isn't work. We still typically have work. It just slows down a little bit. But then, yeah, I mean, we're able to go, you know, back when I first started, I remember being like, oh my gosh, like it was feast or famine when you're a newbie, because you don't have that big, I guess, not following of lawyers, but you don't have that big pool of lawyers just yet. And as you grow, you get more and more. And there are lawyers that still work during the summer. And there are quite a few that actually do still work during the holiday, because a lot of them need money too, right? But the first few years, you feel it. You're like, okay, well, what is this? I didn't know what it was when I first started, because I didn't have a coach or a mentor telling me, hey, there's 4 seasons of legal nurse consulting. No, we made that up on our own because we figured it out, right? So, you know, we've just learned to take those hard times. Oh, I love this. We've learned to take those hard times and make them great. I mean, now our vacations are in December. We actually do most of our family vacations in December. October, December, and then, you know, in the summer we bought a beach house actually last summer so that we could spend some time at the beach. So I think you're right. It's a mindset thing, but what is helpful is having someone tell you, hey, Callie, this is normal. Also, hey, Callie, you're going to see this in business.
I think that's a good point too, is like, I probably didn't have all the bumps that you had when you first started, because I had you. So in the programs, Janice is there to say, this is normal, keep going. Or, you know, you've marketed. True story. So the first day, April 9th last year, sent out my 100 outreaches to attorneys, right? Naturally, I thought someone's going to send me cases, even though Janice had told me, you have to keep going. That first night, I said to my husband, I was like, oh my gosh, what are we going to do? Nobody wants to work with us. Oh, no. And then, like I said, the following week, I had 13 cases. So I think having someone there to be like, no, you're good. Keep going. Keep doing what you're doing. This is normal. I also didn't have I didn't get paid for a case, because I knew what to do and how to go about things.
That's such a great point. So many nurses, and we still see it in other Facebook groups that are legal nurse groups, and it always upsets me. Nurses will say, hey, I never got paid from a client. An attorney never paid me. How do I go about collecting my money? I trial and error, been there, done that, know how to avoid it. And that's what I teach you guys to do from the start, so that there'll still be nurses that'll say, well, I've never charged my attorney a retainer. Well, guess what, guys? First of all, a retainer is very much their language. They understand what a retainer is. They charge retainers to their clients. Not only that, but expert physicians and other expert witnesses charge a retainer. So the fact that you go out and build a business with, you start a business and you start accepting clients that you don't know. I mean, guys, there's good lawyers and there's bad lawyers, just like there are good nurses and there are bad nurses, right? There are lazy lawyers, there are lazy nurses, and some just don't want to pay their bill. So you have to, as a business owner, protect yourself. And there's certain things you have to put into place that are so important so that you don't spend 3 months on a case and then get burned. And then how the heck do you pay your bills because you didn't set it up right?
Yeah, you don't want that. So I think, there's always things that you learn, but having a mentor and the right training and someone who's been there and done it before is really helpful.
I agree. I wish I always hesitate to tell people this, but it's true. Over the course of probably 6 years, I spent about $100,000 trying to figure out how to build a business. And no one knows that. See, Janice, how is your program different than anyone else's? Well, I got a lot of business training. I got a lot of marketing training. I put myself out there and I paid for these courses and I trained myself and I not only that, but the things that I use in my business, I share with my nurses. And before I use them, I test them. So I'm not just selling something because I made it up and thought it was a good idea, right? I'm like, oh, this sounds like a really cool idea. These are things that I've actually used myself in my business, and either they worked or they didn't. If they didn't work, I don't tell my nurses about it. And sometimes nurses will say, hey, I have an idea. Let's do this. I'm like, I already did that. Don't work. Don't do it. Try this instead. Because, you know, time is money, right? Hey, Rebecca, how are you? Hi, Tia. So I want to ask you guys a question, and we have a bit of a delay on the chat here, but for those of you that are new, what questions do you have that we could answer for you? And my phone is blowing up, so I apologize if there's all this like crazy, weird vibrating sounds in the background. How many of you have questions? What's up, Rebecca? So glad you're here. Thank you for joining us. Let me know any questions that you have that we can help address, and we'll go from there. I was trying to think if there's anything else I promised you guys. The good, the bad, the ugly. It's a great life, y'all. It's a great life.
It is.
You know, I think the thing that was cool this morning, while I wait for you guys to write out your questions, both of my kids, we did our live event yesterday for our nurses, and we were up so late. We were up until 2 a.m. the night before, working on getting just everything done, and then getting our speakers set up and everything. And then we were up pretty late last night just trying to help other nurses who are ready to jump into the program. This is so crazy. My phone's going off. And then my kids woke up sick today. And it was funny because Kelly and I are trying to work. And then I just looked at her at one point, and the kids were both crying, and they're laying on me, and they got snot everywhere. And I said, you know what? It's just not going to be a work day. I said, let's just do a live. We've gotten so many comments and so many people reach out. Let's just do a live and come to them live and our jammies. And maybe that'll be better. Yeah. So the forensic side of things is really, there's, you know, you can do anything. So for me, the forensic portion of this really is, we've done a lot of, we've done cases that have been appealed where people have been wrongfully incarcerated. So we've gone through and looked over the autopsy reports, worked with the coroners, you know, done a lot of defense criminal type cases. We review video, you know, we use pictures, bad pictures, a lot of stuff you can't probably talk about on Facebook. So there is a forensic side to it that's really interesting. The thing about legal nurse consulting, so there's a program called SANE, and I think a lot of people think that the sexual assault nurse examiner is like the end all be all of forensic nursing, but there's not. There's a significant other area of forensic nursing that you can, you know, dive into. The problem is there really isn't. There's some programs out there that have like, get your forensic degree and blah, blah, blah. I feel for a nurse, it's very much, you're taking bits and pieces from forensic programs and from forensic trainings and creating your own kind of path, if you will. Mm-hmm. So it's like, you know, a lawyer will reach out. Majority of the time it's a criminal lawyer, like maybe somebody was, you know, murdered or something like that. And they need, you know, a different set of eyes. So I've gotten a lot of different forensic trainings. I've gone through the same trainings. That kind of stuff helps. But what I've noticed from like the SANE training is, I think in forensics, sometimes we forget we have to look at things from both sides. And sometimes the SANE trainings are really like, it was, at least for me, the program I took, it was really geared towards like, and it's hard to say this, but you guys are nurses in legal nurse consulting. You know, it was really geared towards like the victim is always right. Okay. And I think we have to always remember too, that there are actually two sides to a story. And so seeing it from another perspective and having to look at it from this side is not what our normal tendencies are, maybe just even as human beings. And so it's really having the ability to step back and look at a case that's ugly and seeing it from both sides and being able to tear it apart. Okay, well, this happened. This person was injured this way. Maybe he was hit over the head with a beer bottle, but why? let's look at this. Let's look at the images. Let's look at all the video. Let's tear this apart. And I think we tend to just like see things as a society kind of one way, right?
Yeah.
This is a bad guy. This bad person did bad things. But as a legal nurse, as a nurse working in forensic, as a legal nurse consultant, you've got to be able to see things from
eliminate judgment of, you know,
Mhm.
oh, he murdered someone or whatever it is that happened, and kind of just going off the facts. You know, you read through what could have happened. Was their lab work out of place? Were they, you know, on something? Did something happen that could have caused, you know, what happened that could have caused this? So just really evaluating the facts and taking out any, you know, good versus bad kind of.
Yeah, it's really a change in thinking, and it's really quite interesting. I mean, there's times where I'll have autopsy reports like laid out on the floor with pictures of clients, you know, pictures of an injured person who passed away, like any special qualifications to consult forensic cases or resources that can help. Yeah, you can actually, like, I recommend you can do some SANE training if you want. That's really helpful. Remembering too, to look at things from both aspects. You can actually look up forensic. You can look up online forensic training. There's stuff online about like gunshot wounds and stab wounds. That kind of stuff is really helpful. Blood splatter, like blood splatters in certain, in different ways based on different, you know, modes of
action.
Yeah, there you go. So you can learn about different types of blood splatter. I mean, there's just so many different things. You could literally look up forensic training online and just kind of, if you're a self-starter and a go-getter, you could definitely just, you know, soak up as much as you can. And this is all stuff that you have the knowledge as a nurse to take and then translate to an attorney, right? So everything you learn, you can then turn around and explain it to a lawyer. You can say, hey, this bruise, you know, as nurses, we learn bruising colors, but you could learn the different types of bruising, and that could help your lawyer. And then you can break it down to them into something that makes sense. So yeah, there's actually a really great program, Julie. That's a great point. UC Riverside has a forensic program. I forgot about that one. But I think it's an online program too. So there's multiple online programs you can, and just kind of, you know, for me, that wasn't my end all be all, but it was additional education and additional like training that I needed to better assist my attorney clients who work in stuff like this, right? So there's, you know, it's kind of neat because if you do get bored, say you're doing just a ton of, I don't know, let's say you're doing a bunch of pressure wound cases as a legal nurse, and then suddenly you're like, gosh, I need a change. Well, guess what? Now you can start doing, you know, assault cases if you want, or, you know, you can change it up at any moment if you decide you want to do something completely different. Maybe you just want to only do stab wound cases and that interests you. So there's definitely a lot of different paths you can take if you are a self-starter and you're like self-motivated. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Someone was asking how you got started. And I think that's a question a lot of people have. Like, as a legal nurse, how do you get started?
That's a great question. So, legal nurse consulting, you know, for us, so we actually train in a few different ways, and I actually have one of my gals on here. We can give you that. There's a workshop that we've created because we get a lot of the same questions from nurses. And so what we did is we put together a workshop for you guys. It's a series of a couple 2 to 3 minute videos, because we get it. You're busy and we're busy and nobody wants to sit around watching videos all day. But we created a workshop, and it's just a bunch of 2 to 3 minute videos that you can easily and quickly digest that tell you how to go about getting started. A lot of common questions that are asked. And, you know, the best thing to do is ensure that you have a work product sample that's going to blow your competition out of the water, because there's a lot of like competition on LinkedIn. Once you actually see the competition's work though, it goes down significantly. So we like our nurses to have really great work product. We like to believe we raise the best of the best legal nurse consultants that actually make money and have attorneys that go, wow, I've never seen work product like this before. Where did you learn this from? And that's probably the biggest selling point for our nurses, is having incredible work product sample that they can share with their attorney clients. And that really sets them up for success. So if you're looking at, hey, I want to get started. How many of you in the chat are like, dude, this is totally my thing. You've been sitting here for how many minutes with me? Has it really been 46 minutes you've been here with us? 34, yeah.
Oh.
How many of you are like, legal nurse consulting is definitely something I want to do? Shout out in the comments. I'm in, and I'm going to walk you through the process of going ahead and getting into our free workshop, getting your questions answered, and then we can go from there. It's, you know, you want to get some special foundational training. There's some legal verbiage that you're going to need to be familiar with. And then really is getting your hands dirty, getting in there and creating that work product sample, and then getting out there and marketing right from get-go. What's up, Lindsay? Lindsay's ready. I love that. Yes, Cindy, fabulous, fabulous, fabulous. We have such a delay. Lisa's in, Cindy's in, Lindsay's in. I love this. This is the kind of nurses we like to work with.
Go getters.
Go getters. You know, I'm the person that like jumps in with both feet or
I told you I went head first.
She went head first. She just dove right in.
I don't know what it is or what I'm doing, but I'm going for it.
But I'm gonna do it anyway. That's the kind of people. I mean, that's what makes this field so exciting and so much fun is that, you know, the people that aren't serious kind of fall off. Paris is ready. What's up, Paris? Sylvia's ready. Yes, I love this. I love this. I love this. Keep writing if you're ready, because what we're going to do is we're going to reach out to you individually. Oh, Savannah's ready. She watched the workshop and she's ready to start the course.
Oh,
yes,
Savannah.
I love this.
I'll touch base with you.
Okay, perfect. She's got you. Kelly's got you. What's up, Jennifer? I totally lost track, but you guys, we do 3 events via Zoom every year. In addition to the year you get with us, weekly Zoom calls with us. And then we do 1 live networking event. So you're still going to have your nurse family. And I think that was big for me. And that one of the reasons I created Legal Nurses Rock was I actually, like I said, I actually really loved my hospital and I loved my nurse family. And I had my nurse wife, right? My work wife, which wasn't Callie, it was someone else at the time. But I am a social person. I love the aspect of having like my ride or die. I hate that sentence, that thing, but I'll say it anyway. Like those nurses that, you know, you could count on that would always have your back. And when I went into business for myself, I lost that. I had nobody. And so I was really out there doing legal nurse consulting in 2009 by myself. And I was like, this is so lonely. And so a few years, almost 6 years later, I finally got tired of being by myself. And that's why I created Legal Nurse Consulting or Legal Nurses Rock, is for the community of nurses. So for those of you that are like, heck yes, I'm in. What's up, Rebecca? Yay, she's in. Oh, you started last week. Fabulous. I want you to know if you're in and you're jumping in tonight with us, and we'll get off here and we will help you individually. We'll go back. So make sure you're available. You will get a book for signing up tonight for free. So I will sign this book and I will send it to you for free for joining and just for being someone who's committed and is, oh my gosh, I love you. Thank you, Alicia. For being committed, and then just like for being someone who's like, I'm done. I'm taking control of my future. Those are my people.
You don't have to be stuck where you are. I think people have, it's in your mind. You really don't have to stay and be stuck.
No,
There is hope.
There is absolutely
There's
hope.
hope for real.
You can do something you love and then link arms with us and let us show you how to do it. Oh, I love you, Tia. Tia's one of our girls, man.
She is.
I can't wait to give you a big hug.
Yes.
What's up, Rebecca?
Too.
You guys, we just, you know, we work hard to protect the community because sometimes the crazies will try to infiltrate, but we really work hard to protect it and make sure that only the best of the best, the awesome nurses who are legit and excited and like ready to take on the world are there with us. Because you guys, it's something I didn't say, I do still have my own legal nurse consulting business. So on top of coaching with you guys and mentoring you guys, I'm still in the trenches. I didn't retire 25 years ago. You know, I'm up to date with like the new cool hip social media ways of reaching out. We hit the Facebook algorithm the other night and like went viral. Like I know what I'm doing. And so if you're, you know, if you're like that person, this is definitely a place to be. We have a really loving community of nurses who want to see you succeed. So I'm so excited. Yay! Julie, you are going to finish, girlfriend. You're getting closer. I know you are. We're so excited. So shout out, I'm ready. We will reach out to you as soon as this live is done. And you will also get Scrap the Scrubs for free. And it will help you. It'll help get you going right away, because you guys, I don't talk in fluff. I get right to the point. Here's what you need to do. A, B, C, and D. Don't do that. Don't do that. It wastes time. It wastes money. And I'm going to show you how to get it done as fast as you can and not have to waste like 5 years like I did figuring it out. All right, you guys, anything you want to add?
No, join us. You
Join
guys,
us.
you can do it. Head first, like me.
Head first, like Kelly. I'm ready. All right, Lindsay, we're going to reach out to you, girlfriend. We're going to hop off, but we're going to go back through the comments and I'll reach out to you individually. You guys, thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Yeah.
Happy St. Patrick's Day. Don't drink too much because I don't want you all silly when I'm on the phone with you. No, I'm just kidding. We're going to give you a call and I'm so excited about your future. I cannot wait to watch you have success, but not just that, to find joy in your career again and to wake up with a purpose again. You absolutely can. And I have goosebumps because I know it happens. Oh, Lisa, hold on. Mastery work product more. I should turn my some cases into work product. Lisa, will you copy paste this question and send it to care@legalnursesrock.com and I will help you? 100%. I will help you with that. Great question. And I will help you with that. Also, you get like forever coaching with me. So how cool is that? Anyway, you guys, we're going to hop off now and we will reach out to you in just a few minutes. Thank you, everybody.
Bye.
Thanks for joining us. Bye, guys.